New models and value are here for Chaos Demons.
Spiking bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com, and today we are going to unbox and build some of the models, or the newer models, from the Realm of Chaos Wrath and Rapture starter box, the latest expansion for both Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar. It's a pretty good place to start if you're just on the fence, and anybody in the hobby that's not in the hobby and wants to get in the hobby, and they're like, I can't make a decision, but I want to buy something I can use in both games. This might be actually a really good buy for you because, again, you can use it in both games. You can use it in Age of Sigmar and 40k alike, and the basic rules for each are actually included in this set, along with some data sheets and things to actually play them in the specific games, and a fluff booklet and some tokens and actually some tape measures. So really all you need is to put the models together, and that will get you started in theory, right? So this is a brand new box set. We've talked about the value over on the site some, but it's a new release this week for $160. A lot of folks thought it would be $150 at the beginning, but it turns out it's $160, which falls in line with a lot of releases we've seen out there. It's going to come with all of the extra supplements and things that are right here, along with all of these models: Karnak, 10 Bloodletters, 3 Blood Crushers, 5 Flesh Hounds, the new Infernal Raptress, which is a Herald for Slaanesh, 10 Demonettes, 5 Seekers, and 3 of the new Fiend models right there. So a good little grip of miniatures. It looks like 19 in each one right there. Added up together, you're going to have about 40 new models for your collection in this box. So let's take a look at the value. So over on the site, SpikyBits.com, we broke down twice actually, once we got the accurate pricing, the values inside of the Wrath and Rapture box, and we get all the previews, and then you can see the back of the box right there, which we just showed you. There's some examples of the painted miniatures from the Vigilus Open, the confirmation of the price, and then we start getting into the actual values. Now, a lot of these are not confirmed because you know how Games Workshop, or if you don't, Games Workshop likes to put these models out eventually singly down the road. So this will be the only way to get them for a while, and then say like a year from now they'll pull it out, like the Infernal and Rapturous as a separate release, because it's, hey, if you've already got the models, why not make a little extra money? And sometimes people at that point, you've sold all the box sets you're going to sell, so hey, why not sell them as a single release and get more return on your investment? GW is a business, and it kind of makes sense if you look at it from that regard in some ways. So the Infernal Rapturous probably will be around $25. Currently, the Herald of Slaanesh is $22.50, but most models are coming out. The new multi-part plastics are always generally at least $25 or $35 for the specific named characters. The Fiends of Slaanesh are another kind of mystery. Currently, they are the old pewter ones. They're very, very small, not as well detailed as these new plastic ones. They are $24.95 or $74.25 for 3. Now, we don't know if they're going to come in a box of 3 or if they're going to be singles like the Beast of Nurgle was when those came out. Those used to be singles. These used to be singles. Now there's 3 to a box. The Beast of Nurgle didn't come to 3 to a box. They didn't even come in a box, I don't think. They just came out as a separate release. So it's really hard to compare. So we're just kind of throwing it all out there. Maybe there'll be a box for $80. Maybe there'll be, $40 a piece like the Beast of Nurgle, which would make this box an even better value. Then, of course, you're getting the 10 Demonettes, which currently go for $29. 5 Seekers of Slaanesh for $29. Over to the corn side, you got Karnak, who is $22.50, currently in his pewter form, which is from the 90s. I imagine when they re-release him, he will be $35. If I remember correctly, he was a 2 sprue kit. We're about to see as we unbox this right here. 5 of the Flesh Hounds, which are currently $49.50. I would imagine they would stay about the same, but they might go up or they might go down. Either way, this is kind of a ballpark type deal. 10 Bloodletters for $29 and 3 Blood Crushers for $50. Currently, they are sold in a box of 6 for $100. So this is the only thing that's kind of like a split component. But if you add all those estimated prices and confirmed prices up, $326.50 for your purchase price of $160, you're looking at $166.50 in value, just kind of middle of the road, ballparking it based on current values and, established market trends and such. So back to the box set itself, all of those goodies are going to come in here once you get the box open. All the sprues generally come on top, and they fixed some design issues of the past, whereas the sprues would actually dig into the supplements and the rules contents and all the paper materials and stuff underneath it. So what they did was they put this little insert in here that actually protects, and you can see where some of the sprues have actually punctured this right here. It actually protects all the rule sets and things underneath it. Now, I've already gone ahead and taken a look at it, but you kind of get the idea of what this is and why it's there. And then it's just the cover art that we've already seen. Oh, looks like a bullet head already fell off. So I'm just going to take these out until we take a closer look at the sprues themselves. Set them down over here and kind of show you the inside. So you're going to get all of the bases here. Remember, everything's on ovals now. Age of Sigmar has its recommended base size guide. You don't have to go buy it. It's just recommended. But, you know, it makes it easier to be standardized and such. And then you've got all your normal bases there. One thing I do like, instead of having a big booklet or, you know, super booklet full of all the different instructions and things, these actually are individual manuals, which kind of, you know, lead us along the fact that they do intend to release these separately at some point down the road. So we're going to take a look probably at the instructions for the new models here. So let me pull those aside. So we're going to take a look at those here in a second. And then you've got the current models. And like I said, they come with the basic rules, the little flip fold out for 40K. And they have the Age of Sigmar 2.0 one right there. The core rules also comes in there. This is super handy if you don't feel like buying the rulebook, but there is a few pieces of content in the Sigmar rulebook you will need. Then you've got the Wrath and Rapture overall kind of, this is like the kind of the fluff, like what it's all about, the numbers of Slaanesh, introducing things. They got the rivalries and the how to name your demons and such. And so that's kind of your fluff booklet. And then you've got your rules booklets here, both for 40K and Age of Sigmar. And there really isn't any, oh, actually, I guess there is. So there is a couple of pieces of unreleased content. You've got these two War Scroll battalions, which I didn't actually look in the General's Handbook to see if they have pricing and things. The allegiance abilities for Slaanesh, I believe we had seen these, and the same ones for Khorne. I think we had already seen these in the General's Handbook. I'm actually going to pause it and go check that real quick, because now I'm wondering. Okay, so it looks like I was half right. The Slaanesh ones were in the General's Handbook, and they actually have extra rules that aren't in this little book. They also have command traits and their artifacts of power in here. And the Khorne ones are actually in the Bloodbound book. However, neither of these War Scrolls have points in the General's Handbook 2.0 currently. So I don't know if these are things that maybe will get put out as an FAQ as soon as this drops. Sometimes they like the week after they'll put out an FAQ and they'll say, hey, this is how many points these are. So check Warhammer Community's FAQ page to see if there is one for this, because maybe this is now legal. Now, I know some of these probably will be updated. They did put out the updated rules for the War Scrolls already, so that isn't too big of a mystery there. And then the 40K stuff also has been put out, the points as well as the data sheets for these are in the chapter approved book for 2018 that just came out. So pretty much up to date. And there's some, you know, there's some special missions in here, some narrative missions that you can use the CPs for, but nothing that's for competitive match play of 40K. And then you've got some wound markers, some measuring sticks here, objective tokens, and Karanak's target or of his hunt token right there. So I'm just going to kind of keep this sealed up. Let's take a look at how the models go together. So jumping right in and taking a look at how these bad boys and girls are put together. We're going to start with the Fiends of Slaanesh, which are really interesting because they've got this like reverted feet kind of type deal here, which is kind of creepy, but yet, I don't know, strangely like appealing at the same time. They go together pretty much like we've seen in the past, 3-part heads right here. You've got the toes that go on separately, nothing new that changed from the pewter model in some instances. The rear torso is kind of weird how the sliver kind of goes together, but in the past we saw a lot of like fur and little fins kind of sticking up, so there's nothing too quite new right there. The left and right half goes together. But kind of what I'm worried about in some instances are these huge areas of gaps of like lines just across the tail, and you can see some of the areas here on the legs as well. So I'm almost wondering if that's going to be one of those areas that you want to use something from like the gap filler that we showed you with the Slaanesh Noise Marine, some of the stuff that you can actually get. It's called Vallejo Plastic Putty, and you can use this to fill in the gaps and to just scrape it away with your seam scraper after about an hour. So it's very easy to use, and it's going to fill all those gaps. And actually, I have my Victrix card here that I can show you as I walk away from the microphone. That a little bit better. Here we go. So this is a little bit better how it ends up looking. Once you fill in those gaps, it's nice and smooth. There's no recess. There's no shrinkage. It's 100% flush. You just have to, kind of scrape away the excess, and the rest will stay in there already hard after about an hour or so. So it's pretty amazing. So you might want to use that on these fiends because it doesn't look like it's very easy. Now there's 3 different models here, A, B, and C, I think. But then one of them you can be upgraded to the Bliss Bringer, which has a little bit better looking claws and head there. But like I said, on the tail here, that's looking kind of rough. And let's see, some of these gaps, they look like they're kind of underneath for the most part, some of these demon talons and things. And on the front here, the harness, it looks like the left and right half of the front chest kind of locks in this harness. So it looks like that the mold line or the gap will actually kind of be form-fitting to that front harness. And the arms here look like the gap will be almost in between where the flesh and the demon kind of skin, the textured demon skin starts. So it looks like that will be very easy to kind of deal with. So a couple of areas that might be problematic, but a couple of areas that look very easy to do. But either way, I think you're going to need a little bit of gap filler on these models regardless. Next up is the Infernal and Raptress Herald of Slaanesh for both games. All these models are for both games, and she comes on the one sprue that we're going to show you here in a second. And man, lots of tiny parts, incredibly detailed miniature once you start looking at it right here. It's just so crazy how this like flayed out man has like this demon bone harp coming up out of its vertebrae. Very crazy. All sorts of computer splices here. Again, you're gonna want to look at these gaps. Now, unless this kind of sneaks under the fold right here, which it looks like it might, you're gonna want to definitely consider some of that gap filler because it's way better in my opinion than Citadel liquid green stuff and all that. I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but very crazy looking. She's actually standing on him, it looks like. And then the foot goes, is that it? Oh, that is it. Okay. So she's standing on him, and then the demon claw is actually plucking at the strings of the harp right there. Very crazy. The hair kind of attaches on the back almost like Yvrain for the Eldar or the Ynnari, and it's just a crazy detailed model with all the stuff going on here and all the, oh man, you could just really have fun painting this. It combines so many elements of fleshy skin, demon skin, metals, horns, organics. It's just crazy. It's a very exciting but yet very deceptively busy model at the same time. Flesh Hounds are coming in hot, and let me tell you what, since people first saw the Age of Sigmar started back in 2015, they've been waiting on this moment. It only took 3 years, but that's okay. Well, 3.5. But either way, we got them finally, and they are gorgeous looking. I mean, it's amazing what Games Workshop can do updating the stuff to the new technology. These are heads and shoulders above the the resin stuff. Yeah, not resin, pewter. Rewind that, scratch that. The pewter miniatures that have been around since the 90s. I mean, they go together very similarly, left and right halves. You got left and right halves of the body. The frills kind of attach. It doesn't look like you're going to have a lot of mold line issues with these guys. Of course, you got 5 different poses. One of them being the Hound right there, which you can see he's a little bit different. But if you are used or you have put these together in the past, you will be kind of used to it, how they go together as far as that goes. But I think for the most part, they will be an easy build. And then Karanak coming in hot as well. I have no idea how this guy goes together. Let's take a look. So he's kind of like a 3-piece super slice right there, and they give you a top down with shaded components for that would be super helpful, because just seeing this might be a little difficult. It looks like there are some slices on some Baer skin on the back there. So again, yep, and you can see that gap line right there. So you are going to want to try to probably fill some of that with either your loose cement or that gap filler. Some of the paws are a separate piece. And then you've got your different paw pieces here, separate left leg, and the front head looks to be 2 pieces that lock in over top of this extended kind of tongue piece. So we've seen that in the past, but I didn't expect to see that on Karnak himself, on a special character. And then he attaches to the base. Oh, the top head goes together and attaches on there. So that looks like he has that extended tongue. So you're going to have these projected tongues sticking out to give it a little bit more extra depth right there. So they're using the computer design and the way that you can actually keep from an extra piece or extra step by combining it to another piece of the assembly. Definitely applaud that. That's very forward thinking right there on the part of the design team. So let's take a look at the sprues themselves and see how detailed they are. Now, I realize that some folks out there might be newer hobbyists, and even though we've showed you all of these sprues in the past here on the channel, I'm just going to throw them in here real quick. Again, these are the Blood Crushers. They are a 3-sprue kit to make the 3 Blood Crusher models themselves. The Bloodletters themselves go together pretty easily. They are just your standard legs, torsos, arms type deal. The Blood Crushers are going to be a left and right torso half with all 4 legs, and then collars that can attach to the front. Now, pro tip, you might not want to actually attach the legs right here. You might want to actually, if you're going to airbrush these metal, and then this part you could actually keep off the sprue and spray these separate like a red, and then kind of brush on your metals here. That will save you a little bit of time, but if you just want to block it in and do it all at once, definitely consider that as well. The blood letters themselves also can be done separately. And speaking of blood letters and then glued on later, blood letters, this is an older set of sprues. You can tell it's not quite computer designed. This was all by hand, but just like I said, left, right legs, torso, head, left, right arms. Very straightforward. A couple of options here, musician and a standard. Nothing too crazy. And then you've got the Seekers, which are the Slaanesh cavalry right there, left and right halves on the torsos. Again, with the riders. Pretty straightforward. They are smaller models, a little bit lithe, but you can keep them off, the riders off there if you want, and paint them separately. But lots and lots of fiddly parts that you're going to want to be very, very careful as you handle them, that you don't accidentally break them. Also, speaking about accidentally breaking models, the Debonet sprue, which again is a little bit dated, but still holds its own. You can tell it was designed by hand, not necessarily by computers. The left and right bodies are a little bit difficult, and then they've got some slices of legs. So you might want to take your time with this particular build right here. They are very, very small bits themselves. So if you're not used to working with something that's a little bit more challenging than normal, you might want to just kind of take it slow and get your hobby legs underneath you as far as that goes. Now let me see what we got here. So this is the new Flesh Hound sprue, and this actually comes with an extra one. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is it. So these are our new Flesh Hounds. So here's our Flesh Hounds sprue. That's going to make all of those. And then Karnak himself is actually 2 different sprues, so nothing too crazy. There's some of those tongues. It looks like there's one of the tongues that stick out on the actual Flesh Hounds themselves. 2 of them stick out on the Flesh Hounds. And then here's Karnak. He is a little bit more detailed, as you can see. He's got a lot going on with him. You got the back slice, you got remember this kind of goes together in 3 pieces, and then the front left paw kind of glues on there, and then you got your front right head. It's lots of detail. I definitely like it. The And Rapture is a little bit bigger of a sprue. It's about a double sprue. And this actually might be why, and I didn't really mention this with the Slaanesh rocker. So the Slaanesh rocker came with that little black foam case, the Slaanesh Noise Marine, right? Kind of came with this black foam case that the sprue actually fit into. But one of the reasons that Marnius might not have, and Harkin, is that their boxes came with these type size sprues. So it's possible that when the Herald actually comes out, she won't have that cool little black clam pack unless she's on 2 separate sprues, whereas Karanak might, because he's on 2 sprues and they had that staggered insert that can be into there. So it's a little bit more exclusive, a little bit more funsies, but not quite, you know, the cool like out of box experience that you normally get. But they seem to be doing a lot for these $35 miniatures, so I can't exactly, you know, get too down on them there as far as that goes. You know, updated miniatures are kind of what everybody wants these days, so it's good to see them coming out the gate from GW. And so there's Karanak, and then the Infernal and Rapture, like I was saying, lots and lots and lots of tiny pieces. It's just crazy how small this is, but yet how detailed. You can see all the detail on the harp here. So it's metal, but it's got a lot of organic components, and you can see all the slices and stuff, so be super careful with that. Oh man, this little front rogue piece, the head is super small, and then it's got these horns coming up off it. And then this goes on the top of the harp, and the top knots here. So there's lots, again, take your time, slow down, scrape all your lines, dry fit, dry fit twice, glue once. That's the best piece of advice I can give you for assembling the smaller Slaanesh stuff right here. So overall, I definitely like where Games Workshop is with all these new releases as far as, you know, the design and the elements, and they all seem pretty good, and for the most part they hide the mold lines and such pretty well. But we have seen a couple of instances like on the new Vitrix Guard, and probably some of these capes and such on the Infernal and Rapturous, and also on some of the, maybe the oh, I didn't show you the Fiends. Let's see that. Where are they at? Oh, here they are. So, and definitely on the Fiends. Ooh, let's zoom out a little bit. So definitely on the Fiends are going to have lots and lots of parts right here, and they are going to have those cutoffs that we could see, but it looks like some of those areas here are going to be very easily mitigated, but the tails are not, because you have these stark cutoffs right here at the very end, and then you put these tail ends on it. It looks like the fronts, and then yep, just like I said, on the front harness here, on the chest, it looks like it's going to hide underneath the gap, or the mold line is going to actually hide underneath there, so that will really help cover that up here on this one as well. It just kind of hides underneath the harness or the gem right there, which is really cool to see. So yeah, like I said, I think that is just crazy creepy, but yet strangely appealing at the same time. I don't know. I think overall, for the most part, the design elements are definitely coming along, but you will still have to do your due diligence in some cases, maybe going outside of the GW realm to get some supplies to make your models go together a little bit better. But don't be afraid, you know, just be brave, hobby strong, and slow down, take your time, and sometimes coming back to things, if you get frustrated, is always worth it. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed our unboxing and kind of values breakdown, and a look at the sprues and the models themselves for the new Wrath and Rapture box set. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's pretty much anywhere, top and bottom of the screen right here, and I thank you for your time. Make sure you come on back next week after the holiday break for the latest and greatest from Games Workshop and all around the hobby.
Spiking bits.